Hello everyone. In research methodology, today we'll discuss one of the most important topics and perhaps the most crucial one. And it is the topic with which your entire research begins. And it is also called the heart and soul of your research. If there is no problem statement and if there is no research problem, there'll be no research. So your whole research circulates, or your whole research is centered around research problem. So we are going to discuss in detail what is a research problem. Let's begin and learn in detail by giving examples. A research problem is, at the simplest level, the core issue that a study will try to solve. Because if there is no problem, there'll be no research. You conduct a research because a problem exists and you are going to solve that problem. So a problem must be there. Without a problem, you can't conduct a research. So what is a research problem? It's a core issue that a study will try to solve, or at least examine. If you can't solve, you will examine. In other words, it is the explicit declaration about the problem that your dissertation, thesis, or research paper will address. More technically, it identifies the research gap that the study will attempt to fill more than later. So we can call it also as a research gap, because many researchers might conducted their research, okay, and different angles, different aspect of that problem. But one of the aspect of the problem will be unsolved. One of the aspect of the problem might not be resolved, and you're going to resolve, you're going to solve, you're going to identify that aspect of the problem, because the problem might be so much huge that one researcher cannot solve, one researcher cannot examine. So then you see that one part might be resolved, one part might be examined by one researcher, other part by another researcher, other part by another researcher. So it's a kind of research gap, right, that is left for you by other researchers, and you are going to fill the gap, right? But again, you are not going to solve this problem entirely, or the gap which is left for you. So some of the part you are going to solve, and again you are leaving a research gap for other researcher to fill the problem. Fine. So your research problem, it can be theoretical or it can be applied research problem. So what is theoretical problem? Theoretical problem, that is for the sake of knowledge. You add knowledge. For example, somebody has conducted a research on Hamlet character. Fine. And you are going to add some more aspect of the Hamlet character. So you will add what is already existed, right? Or what is already researched. Okay, there might be 100 of researchers and who discuss different dimensions of the character Hamlet. So you are going to add one more dimension of the Hamlet character. Okay, so there'll be 101. Other person will come and he or she will add, so there'll be 102, and so on. So that will be a theoretical research problem. Applied research problem is the one that, for example, there might be some managerial issue, there might be some organizational issue, there might be some you see there decrease in the sale of product in a company, organization. So you are going to conduct a research and solve the problem. So then that will be applied research problem. So a research problem can be theoretical or it can be applied one. A research problem can be theoretical in nature, focusing on an area of academic research that is lacking in some way Alternatively, a research problem can be more applied in nature. So focus on findings a practical solution to an established problem within industry or organization. In other words, theoretical research problems are motivated by desire to grow the overall body of knowledge. So theoretical research problem, it deals to grow the overall body of knowledge. Something already exists and you add and you increase the body of knowledge. While applied research problems are motivated by the need to find a practical solution to a current real world problem. So that is the difference between two types of problem. Importance of research problem. As you can probably see that the research problem acts as the driving force behind any study. It's very important, as in the beginning I told. If there's no problem, there'll be no research. So what drives you to conduct a research, that is a research problem. It is directly shape the research aims, objective, and research question. So once you identify a problem, so then you will identify the aims of your research. You will identify the objectives of your research. What do you want to, what are the objectives of your research? What are the aims of your research? And what are the research questions? So your aims of research, your objectives of research, your research questions of research, all are based on the research problem. So no research problem, there'll be no aims, there'll be no objectives, there'll be no research question. So research questions, objectives and aims are actually, they are, you can see they're taken from your research problem as well as the research approach. Therefore, it is really important to develop a very clearly articulated research problem before you even start your research proposal. So, a vague research problem will lead to unfocused, potentially conflicting research aims, objective, and research question. Right? It's very important that if your research problem that is a vague one, that is not a clear one, that is not well articulated, so your aims of research will not be clear, your objectives of research will not be clear, and your research questions will not be also clear. So if your research questions are not clear, your objectives are not clear, your aims are not clear, so then your research will be questioned, right, whether it is authentic or not. So there'll be authenticity on your research. So that's very important that you must articulate the research problem very well, right? So what is a research problem statement? This is also very important. The name suggests that a problem statement within a research context at least is an explicit statement that clearly, concisely articulates the specific research problem your study will address. So while your research problem can span over multiple paragraphs, it can be multiple paragraph, it can be one paragraph, depends on the nature of your study. Your problem statement should be brief and ideally no longer than one paragraph. Importantly, it must clearly state what the problem is, whether theoretical or practical in nature, and how the study will address it. Here we have example of a research problem. So rural communities across Ghana lack access to clean water, leading to a high rates of waterborne illness and infant mortality. So this is actually that you are declaring what the problem is. Here we can see in the first part what the problem is. Fine. And then despite this, there is little research investigation the effectiveness of community-led water supply project within the Ghanaian's context. Therefore, the study aims to investigate the effectiveness of such project in improving access to clean water and reducing rates of waterborne illness in these communities. So as you can see, this problem statement clearly and concisely identifies the issue that need to be addressed. Lack of research regarding the effectiveness of community-led water supply project. And the research questions that the study aims to answer: community-led water supply project effectively regarding waterborne illness, all within one short paragraph. So what is the problem? Rural communities across Ghana lack access to clean water leading. So this is okay. You are creating a kind of background for your problem. And there here you are telling your problem leading to a high rate of waterborne illness and infant mortality. And here you say that lack of research is there. So despite this, there is little research investigating the effectiveness of community-led water supply project within the Ghanaian context. And then you are telling that what your research question will be. So therefore, the study aims to investigate the effectiveness of such project in improving access to clean water and reducing rate of waterborne illness in these communities. So where do research problems come from? This is also a question. Whenever there is a lack of well-established and agreed-upon academic literature, so there is an opportunity for research problem to arise, since there is a paucity of credible knowledge. In other words, research problems are derived from research gaps. So these gaps can arise from various sources, including the emergence of new frontiers or new contexts, as well as disagreement within the existing research. So these are, we can say, the areas, okay, where research problems can come from. New frontiers. New technologies, discoveries, or breakthroughs can open an entirely new frontiers where there is very little existing research, thereby creating fresh research gap. For example, generative AI technology become accessible to the general public in 2023. So the full implication and knock-on effect of this were, or perhaps still are, largely unknown, and therefore present multiple avenue for the research to explore. So this is one of the way where research problem can come from. New frontier, new technologies, new discovery, new inventions. And these new discovery, new inventions, and new frontier will lead to research gap. And this is okay, research problem can arise. New context. Very often existing research tend to be concentrated on specific contexts and geographies. Therefore, even within a well-studied field, there is often a lack of research within a niche context. For example, just because a study finds certain results within a Western context doesn't mean that it would necessarily find the same within the Eastern context. If therefore reason to believe that results may vary across these geographies and potential research gap emerge. So sometime it happened that a research was conducted in the West, okay, and a research is conducted in the East, will have different implication and different result, because when you change the context, so you will have different results, you will have different implication of your research. So one research might be conducted in America, that the same research you can also conduct in Pakistan, or one research which was conducted in Punjab province of Pakistan can be conducted in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. So when you change the context, right, so you will have new results and different implication. So this is okay, another way where research problem can come from. And then we have disagreement. Within many areas of existing research, there are quite naturally conflicting views between researchers, where each side presents strong point that will opposing direction. In such cases, it is still somewhat uncertain as to which viewpoint, if any, is more accurate. As a result, there is room for further research in an attempt to settle the debate.